Boy, oh heckin' boy, do I have some new luxury makeup for y'all today. And you know what else is I'm probably going to save you some money because none of these is a first impression and so many of them are not worth the money that, yes, I spent on them. I bought all this stuff. We're going to be putting on the new Prada Refine Primer. We're going to be using the new Prada Reset Powder. It's green. I have the two new blushes from Chanel that are for fall. I really enjoyed last year's fall blush releases, and so I figured I'd go for these. I just can't resist. I also really liked last year's eyeshadow release, even though the delivery system was a little questionable. The colors were beautiful. So I picked up a couple of the eyeshadow crayons, and we'll be using those today. And in addition to the powder blushes, I'm also gonna try and include at least one of these. These are the new Make Me Blush liquid blushes from YSL, and I already have some thoughts gathered on these, so I'm not totally sure how this is gonna go as far as like where the makeup look is going to land, but I think it's gonna be helpful regardless. And I'm also just gonna kind of catch all up on my life lately. It's nothing big. I just figure these are good opportunities to talk with y'all, so let's jump in. I'm going to start with what we're not gonna do, okay? And that is the new Make Me Blush liquid blush in the shade 69. I don't know what it's actually called. They only put the name on the box. They never put it on the actual container. Like, I'm gonna put this on, but then I'm going to take it off because I'm gonna show you why. So this is an absolutely incredible looking color, right? Like, you're looking at that and you're just like, that is a ballsy move to make a blush that color. I'm telling you, they're out over their skis. Like, this might match someone with the absolute fairest complexion ever, but it is lighter than any concealer I have ever worn. I think that at best, we could hope for it to be a color corrector, like an under eye corrector for yellow under eyes, but like, ew. It is really not flattering. It's uncanny, like it's just not a color that makeup should really be. I'm not sure what they were really going for here, but they missed the mark. I'm not saying this isn't going to look good on anyone, but there are very few people this is going to work for. I'm talking like the most pale olive on planet Earth. Your skin is FFFFFF translucent. You know, so I'm gonna wipe that off and we're not gonna use that today. I mean, look at that. That just looks terrible. It looks terrible. And I know I'm pigmented right now, but I'm still pretty darn light. You see me on camera and I feel like since I'm the only one on camera, it sort of distorts it a little bit. You kind of think, oh, maybe she's sort of tan or whatever. I'm a B10 in Chanel. I'm like an NC15 in MAC. I am not a person who catches a real tan in the summer. I'm gonna put a little lotion back on, nourish that skin. But yeah, I just wanted to show that to y'all because it really, like, I'll swatch it against the ABH that I like so much that just came out that is also very, very pale lavender. And we'll just see how it compares because, yeah, I mean, it's just light years less saturated. It's wild what they chose to do here because that ABH is already so pale. Like, it's so pale. It has so much white opacity to it. And then they did that. YSL, I don't know what we were thinking, okay? I don't know what they were thinking. So there, I just saved you, what, 45 bucks on that? But we are going to start with this product right here. So yes, the Prada Refine Primer. I was expecting it to be green. It is less green than I expected it to be. And this is also, I mean, none of this stuff is inexpensive, but I think it's supposed to be like a blurring primer, blurring, extending primer. So I went to see on the back of this the first time I used it, how to use it, just to make sure, you know what I mean? It's like, I interview so many products on my channel that was like, I want to know, oof, it really smells like rubbing alcohol. Wow, 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 wow. I really wanted to know, like, what's the best use case for this? Like, how do I make sure I'm getting the most out of it? What should I expect? Well, the first thing on the back of that bottle is not instructions on how to use it. Oof. The first thing on the back of this bottle, as I'm bearing the lead here, is sunburn alert. This product contains an alpha hydroxy acid, AHA, that may increase your skin sensitivity to the sun and particularly the possibility of sunburn. Must be used with sunscreen product, wear protective clothing on your face, and limit sun exposure while using this product and for a week afterwards. What are we doing, Prada? Why are we putting AHAs in a daytime primer? What? Why? Like, who is that for? And there are gonna be people in my comments that are like, if you just wear sunscreen, it's not a big deal. Not for me, okay? My skin, it doesn't matter how much sunscreen I put on. It doesn't matter what kinds of sunscreen I put on. My skin is going to pigment, and I don't need something like this encouraging that, okay? Like, what are we doing? Between the price, the smell, and what I consider to be kind of a pretty common performance of like a blurring, securing primer, you can definitely miss me on this. It's fine. I don't love, as a dry-skinned individual, what it does to the rest of my complexion products. It does kind of mattify everything by one standard deviation. So I was going to, maybe I still will. It feels risky to do so. I was gonna use this. I've never used it on camera before. This is the Vitalumière Aqua. This is from Chanel. It's a broad spectrum SPF 15, and I bought this because I used to love it, but they had octinoxate in there and they took the octinoxate out. My skin is sensitive to octinoxate, so I bought it, but the issue is I am, like I said, a B10 and everything from Chanel, but this one happens to be deeper than all the other B10s that I have. But I'm very pigmented. So why not? I don't know. Like, let's see. Let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens. Fofa, you know what I mean? See, it's actually a pretty good shade match on my cheeks, so let's see. This stuff is gorgeous. It's so thin. That's the other reason I wanted to wear it, is because we're gonna be working with like a combination of powder and liquid on the blush, not just powder and cream, but powder and liquid. That is an outstanding shade match for my summer skin with all of its pigmentation and everything. Wow, okay, all right. That's not a person. That's not a person, camera. Calm down. But I wanted to wear something that was really thin, that was going to do its job and kind of stay out of the way otherwise. And that's why, I don't know, the Prada would have been a perfectly good option, but I mean, y'all already know that I love that stuff so much. I think I'll use the DIOR concealer today just because we're working in like all of the fashion houses, you know, might as well. But I just kind of wanted to catch up with y'all also in this video because I'm gonna kind of be out of office for a minute. I'm not sure how that's gonna shake out in terms of my upload schedule. I'm gonna try and get this up before I leave. I think I will be able to do that, but I'm going to visit my boyfriend because I need a minute. And he doesn't live here, which is a huge bummer. So if anybody wants to donate some vibes towards getting us in the same place, it'd be much appreciated. But I am truly hating what that is doing on top of that primer. Primer is not for my skin, I don't think. And this is a more matte formula, but like still. Oh no, it really looks like it's oxidizing. Maybe I'll go in with a little bit of the Prada, get some glow back. So basically what's been going on with me is like, I'm happy as a clam. I'm so happy, and I've been making content that I'm very happy about. I'm not complaining at all, but I think that I've just had these waves of creativity that have, yes, been really fulfilling because I'm making the content that I really enjoy making, but also, you know, it's kind of wears me out. I'm very like sapped from a sacral chakra kind of place, right? From a creative place. I'm really bad at giving myself a break. And this year has been a real lesson in patience with myself in terms of like doing the one thing that I am the most afraid of, and that is taking a little bit of time to recharge instead of just like pressing on and pressing on and pressing on, like actually trusting my reality to not go completely off the rails just because I decided that I needed to take a minute for myself. Like maximum, this is going to be a week without uploads, but at the same time, that's still like hard for me. Not because I feel like, oh, there's less pressure or something like that. It's just like, I think I've just always had work ethic. You know, I feel a little antsy when I'm just sitting still. I don't know, I was a hairstylist and like, I've just worked in places where it was like, if you are sitting still, if your hands aren't busy with something, like you need to ask someone for something to do kind of thing. And so being self-employed, I'm very well, I should, you know, be that same boss just for myself. And I have been, and it has not always been a positive thing for me. And I think that a lot of people who've been on my channel for a while know this about me. It's been kind of this self-worth tied to my productivity, you know, millennial Neptune and Capricorn thing. And I am finally, I feel like, reaching a level of success in this career that I can kind of establish a new baseline of rhythm. And that doesn't mean like fewer uploads. It means that when I need to take a breath, because I'm pouring from an empty cup, I have to be honest with myself. You know, there's so many different kinds of rest. And right now I just need creative rest, not because, for once in my life, not because I'm exhausted, but because I recognize that I need it. And I recognize that I need it before I have completely run myself ragged. The tank is not entirely empty, but I noticed it because like I have a lot of really great friendships that are, you know, pretty co-reliant. It's not necessarily like I'm always the giver or I'm always the taker in terms of, you know, the help or the uplifting or the gassing up or whatever. I just have close friendships that, you know, mutually serve that purpose, but in an ebb and flow kind of style. And I have found that I have been less mentally available for my friends to be like able to just kind of lock in on what's going on with them and really like give my attention to them, because that still comes from like a place of creativity. And so I just recognize that like I need to take a minute. Okay, all of that jibber jabber aside, let's talk about this. So this is the new powder from Prada. I missed the sellout of it originally on Nordstrom. By the way, my complexion looks kind of bananas. We'll probably fix it with some powder or something, but like the Vitalumière definitely oxidized in a way that I was not expecting. So we're already off on a weird foot. But I am not totally sure why this is green. I have used it and maybe it'll help with this. I mean, is it supposed to be color correcting? Because I don't think anybody needs this big of a pan of green color correcting powder. Like usually you've done your color correction by some other means before you get to powder, but I don't know. Let's just put it on my face like I would any other powder and see what it does, right? And like I said, I've used it before. It's just not been particularly memorably good or bad thus far. Huh. I like it. I don't know why it's green. I mean, it is definitely green. You can definitely see that it's green. It's just kind of interesting that that's the only shade that they put out. You'd think that they'd put out a lavender too, or like a peach, but like just green. It feels more like a branding choice than a practical choice. It's almost just like, this is green. Everyone should buy it to try and see why. And we still don't know. So maybe if you're olive complected, that would be great. Look around my nose though, it's so funny. I'm like, oh, people don't need to color correct with their powder. I literally need to color correct around my nose with green powder. So let's see if it does. Sure. I think coverage would have done that too, but the green doesn't hurt, right? I wonder if it helps. I mean, granted, my blemishes are not red once I have my makeup on, but also like this kind of pigmented spot. I'm not a fan, you know? Like, it seems to have a purpose, but again, I am still not sure that it is a practical choice versus a stylistic choice. It just feels like a branding choice to me. Okay, I'm actually really excited to share these Chanel blushes with you, much like the fall collection last year. I do feel like they have been doing their most exciting releases in the fall because they get to do kind of grungier colors. The spring blush was kind of, or maybe it was summer, I don't know, I bought it and it was fine, it was fine. This time we're doing a mauve and a coral that are in a split plan. This is a split plan. It's a split pan and we have 2 blushes and 2 highlighters. Let me swatch them for you. The way that I kept adding these to cart and then taking one out and then adding it back and then taking the other one out for so long before I was like, Khaki, just buy both of them. You are so curious, just buy them both. It's literally your job. Oof, 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 oof. Yeah. Now, if I were rebuying them, I would probably just have bought the mauve because my collection is just so saturated with coral and that highlight is just a little little bit dark on me, and I do have like Chanel Baume Essentiel that I like better than that in Mermaid Glow, but they are, you have to admit, I mean, you don't have to admit, I have to admit that they are really, really beautiful. I do like that we're not dealing with an overload of mica in the pigmented blush part, and they just sort of like separate the two ideas, because there's so much stuff coming out right now that is gosh darn freaking shimmery and like non-negotiably shimmery. I'm gonna be doing a new at Sephora video coming up pretty soon, and it's gonna have the Fenty blushes and the new Ilia bronzer in it. Spoiler, why is everything so chock full of mica? I don't get it. Who does it look good on? It's not working. So I think we can get away with wearing both. And then I will probably top with this lovely orange. The other shade that I got in the YSL is kind of boring. I mean, you'll be able to see the performance of this when I just use this shade right here, because the one that I got right here is like, if this works, this will work. It's just a rosy tone. I thought it was gonna be more exciting than it is. It's just not that exciting. So I'm like, this line of demarcation is killing me. I hate it so much. Ugh, okay, anyway, yeah, let's use that. This is the Sephora 96 Pro Blush Brush. And I'm gonna start here with our friend, the mauve shade. She's not kidding around in terms of pigment, but much like any Chanel blush, it's just not going to be offensive. I just think that their blushes are so beautiful. It's kind of funny. It's almost like their blushes and their eyeshadows have the same amount of pigment to them. And so it's like, I'm very annoyed by their blushes because I'm like, will it blend? Will it build? Will it be anything but sooty? You know, which is why I liked the fall ones. They were like singles last year, and they were just so much more committed in terms of like texture and color than anything that had been in any palette that I had seen from them thus far. And I did buy their spring quad and was yet again kind of underwhelmed, but that like slow building quality, it's both some people's preference, and also it lends itself beautifully to their blush formula, in my opinion. I haven't put any bronzer on or anything. I'm doing things in a different order than I typically would because I just want to show y'all this. We don't have a new bronzer to work with today, so I will bronze and contour last. I just really wanted y'all to see what these colors look like on their own. I even will use this highlighter. I might use the other highlighter in my eye look, but I'm not gonna like put it in my highlighter spots because it is too dark. So that's really beautiful. It has a really nice blur on the skin. I don't think that you need to spend Chanel dollars to get this kind of result, but as far as like, if you're a Chanel fan and you're wondering if this falls in line with something that's just like beautiful and satisfying to use and you get something out of interacting with this product, it's really, really pretty and it's really, really satisfying. So on this Nikki LaRose N15, I'm going to grab a little bit of the highlight. I'm doing a terrible job showing you. And we're gonna put that in my typical highlight area, which is like my brow bone and like the corner of my eye. I don't bring it down onto my cheek because I feel like it makes my cheek disappear. I don't think that that's really where the light hits in the most flattering way on me, and so I, you know, try and bring it up a little. But for the sake of science, we'll use it in some more of the highlightery spots so that you can see the coolness of it. It's really quite lovely. I mean, I'm not really a nose highlight person, but we're gonna cover that up with a lot of other things. It's not gonna be the final word. So let's now go in with this. This is a much more typical color. It's a much more typical kind of coral. I think that, again, it's absolutely beautiful, but it's not something that you can't find anywhere else. And I'm just gonna use the coral to top a little bit. It does actually layer really beautifully. It's kind of funny how you think sometimes, like you see these two blushes and you're like, well, I need to pick one. Because those two are not going to go together, and actually they do. I think so. Obviously this looks a little bit crazy right now because, again, I don't have any other product on. Like I don't have any bronzer or anything to like blend the edges, but it's quite lovely. These are prone to hard pan because they're kind of baked, but you'll know, you just pull out some Scotch tape. Look how pleasant the blur is on that. It's really, really nice. Let's use my Hermes bronzer real quick to, again, kind of blur the lines just a little bit. I have this in Totori. I always feel like I sound like Nandor when I say that. Totori. This is science, but this is a turtle. So how does, I would say, like the Chanel compare to the Hermes powder blushes? The Hermes powder blushes are more matte. I feel like they both give the same really beautiful kind of like sealed finish on the skin, but they're more matte, whereas like this, it's not shimmery, but it does have like a little bit of like a minerality to it, if you will. We're working with so much powder here. I think that the answer on bronzer right now is just my Makeup by Mario, because it's just so subtle and it's gonna bring a little bit of like skin texture and life back to my skin, because even the Vitalumière Aqua is just giving flat. You know, I'm just not used to seeing my skin like that. Ugh, that makes all the difference in the world. This stuff's wild. This stuff is absolutely wild. Oof, oof, oof. So pretty. See, ugh. There's a reason that I've panned almost 2 of these now. They're just so good. I will never forget you, Mario. Now we're gonna go in with this liquid blush, which is definitely not my first advice on how to use something like this. I just wanna show it to y'all. I do wanna say, like, I don't know how this is gonna go, but this is really pretty. It reminds me a lot of the Armani liquid blush formula. Let me swatch those against each other real quick. So this is the Armani, and this is the YSL. So you can see that the YSL is a lot more ballsy in terms of being, you know, orange sherbet colored. So here we have what I really considered to be a pretty orangey coral, orangey peach, you know, when I bought it. And then we have the YSL, which honestly, like, good for them. Like, we're not backing away from like a neon pastel orange. And in this case, I know that I can only judge based on my own face, and they are really similar in terms of formula, like very, very similar. But either way, I guess what I was saying is, like, I know that I only have my face to judge on, but this works on me, and the lavenders didn't. So let's go for this. So it's got the YSL, you know, little kind of branded precision doe foot tip that I mean, I like usually, but like there's not really much point for it in this case because we're not talking about precision application, but it does have a nice reservoir on the end of it. It picks up a good amount of product. It's easy to control, but like we're not tracing ostensibly, we're not tracing lines with this. I think the best course of action here is to go in with a sponge because that will disturb the surface the least. Do you see that? Do you see that? We're kind of, it's a little avant-garde. It's a little blush drapey because we're gonna leave the combo of the Chanel there. And then we're gonna take the YSL up a little bit on the corners. I'm not sure if I meant to do that, but we're gonna call that a happy accident. And it's cool because like, regardless of whether I end up liking it, you can see it a lot more clearly because I'm not layering it directly and only on top of those other blushes. So pretty, pretty, pretty. Yeah, I really like this formula. I really like it. I think it's very easy to work with and it's a great way to step into a shade like this if you aren't really comfortable with it. It's very approachable and serum-y, and it builds in a way that's very predictable and it's easy to manipulate. I don't feel like it lays too much product down. You don't need to be like, you know, go in with a warning the way that you do with the Rare Beauty blushes or something. But I do think that they, again, like Pete said, when they should have hot dogged on the lavender, okay? And you're gonna have a bad time. Forgot, there is one thing that I received in PR out of this whole video, and it is the new lip balm. And this is actually a pH color changing lip balm from Prada. And I was like, this is gonna be terrible. I hate pH color adjusting everything. And it's really, here's my high praise, it's really not that bad. Now I still have like concealer on my lips, I think. And we will end up probably putting something else on because yo, that's pink. It's pink, okay? Not the best color on me, especially because I have such unpigmented lips. Like all you see is the pink. It just comes through so hard. And it really just like kills all this work we did to like have nuance on my cheeks and stuff. But I wanted to show y'all, I'm gonna let it sit there for a little while and just see, but we will probably go with something different. It's not the worst thing in the world actually with this look because it's kind of giving a little bit of like this hot pink that bounces off of this turquoise color really well. I'd still want more control over the color than that though. You know, I'd rather go in with one of the lip stains from Kulfi than to just leave it up to a pH color adjuster to just decide. I'm also going to use a couple of matte eyeshadow sticks with this because I only bought shimmery ones, but these are the Stilo Ombre Contour eyeshadow liner. I have it in a Taya, which is number 52. And then I have number 5 4 over here, and this is Electric Brown, not to be confused with YSL Explosive Brown. And I will say Electric Brown ended up being a lot cooler and like more black based than I expected. Like the backing is so sooty that I will end up using it as an eyeliner. I've tried a few times using it as an eyeshadow and it's too much. It's like too high contrast with not enough opacity, and so it just comes off kind of muddy on my skin. And so it's not a really good demo of this formula on me, so yeah, I will use it to do like a smudgy eyeliner, but this is so pretty. It's so freaking pretty. The only thing that I do want to say about these is they come with a little crayon point on them, and they also have this little sharpener inside the butt. And y'all have seen that a million times, you know, those kinds of things. The tip breaks off immediately. Like, come on, Chanel. Like, just make one with a rounded end on it like all other ones. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Someone's already done this for you over and over and over again. It's not like you're new to making makeup, okay? No, I don't want to do a software update. What? It's not like you don't have access to data on what works and what doesn't. The fact that this comes with a point on it in 2024 that breaks off instantly is just so bananas to me. So like I didn't return it because I wanted to be able to review it, but am I a little aggravated that a Chanel freaking priced eyeshadow stick broke off both of them? The point broke off immediately when I tried to use them. Yeah, that's pretty stupid. You know, that's very pretty, and it has more shimmer to it than I have seen from a lot of these kinds of things in the past. So I'm not saying it's like special enough that you should go and spend Chanel dollars on it with the expectation that you're going to break the tip off of it the moment you open it, but I also don't have anything that I can compare to it in terms of a shimmery eyeshadow stick that I would recommend, you know? Here I have my 2 beloveds from Bobbi Brown. I have Cinnamon, which is just such an uncommonly warm brown shade. It's very like terracotta colored. Oof. And on my skin, it really does just pull brown. Everything tries to go so cool on my eyes. I feel like I have to err on the side of it being so warm. Otherwise, it's going to pull like charcoal gray on my eyes. That is a color theory mental exercise that I do not have the bandwidth for right now. By the by, y'all, I forget, one of my lovely viewers tagged me or sent it to me or whatever. This guy, oh no, I will put him on the screen. He's fantastic, and he has this kind of, you know, some people joke that it's sort of a savant ability, but he basically understands how to name colors that he's looking at in terms of hexadecimal codes, which is just a really cool talent in and of itself, to be able to like know how the hex code system works that fluently that you can just kind of call it to memory and speak it like a language. This is Moonstone, by the way. I don't understand why Bobbi Brown can do this and no one else seems to be able to make a spangly eyeshadow stick. Look at that. I've never seen anyone do that. I'm just gonna grab my YSL quad here to finish this out because I just don't feel like thinking that hard. But yeah, this guy is amazing. He, like in, I don't know, 10 minutes of consuming his content, I discovered, through him obviously, this little machine. It's like a spectrometer that can recognize and name hexadecimal codes based on anything that you set it down on, basically. It's like it scans the surface and it's like, oh yeah, that's blah, blah, blah color. And that is just so full circle for what we were talking about with my best red lip video and stuff like that. And people are like, well, okay, but like then how do I find that color someplace? And I'm like, well, you know, you just kind of eyeball it. Like that's the best answer that I really have. It's just like a guidepost, but like how cool would it be if you could go to like, I don't know, Sephora or even your own makeup collection or something, scan something and be like, yeah, like that's a really close match or maybe a perfect match to the hex code that I pulled when I did that experiment on my own lips, and find your ideal whatever, red, beige, pink, what have you, that way. Wouldn't that be cool? So I ordered it. It was like $87. Is that the best eye look I've ever done? No. Do I have it in me right now? Not really. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. I was in yoga this morning And usually yoga is a place I can go where I just kind of check out and my body takes over and I can get in a really nice flow. And when I'm in a flow, it's just like the time blows by and I'm like challenging myself physically in a really nice way, but it's really satisfying. I leave there feeling exhausted, again, in a really good, accomplished way. I'm using a little bit more of the Stilo here. Today, no, it was just like I was trying to drive a car with no power steering fluid. There was just nothing in the tank. That's a mixed metaphor, but I was just very aware of, I think I'm about to start my period. You know, I mean, I know I am, I track it, but like, I don't know how soon exactly, but within the next 4 or 5 days. And I think I'm just like low on iron, low on everything, low on energy. I'm very, very just spent. So it was a rough day in yoga today. All right, I am going to use, like I said, explosive brown, just kidding, electric brown. Where did it go? Grabbing a little bit of this on a Sigma E15. Is this the perfect tool for the job? Probably not, but I've never used it before, so we'll find out. It's not bad. Apply some directly to the lash line here. They are nice and soft. Are they remarkable? No. All right, let me throw on my mascara and my brows, and then we'll come back and choose a lip. I don't know what it's gonna be. I don't know if we even have anything really new other than that Prada lip balm. Eyeliner, mascara, brows. I mean, they can really hide a world of sins. Okay, it's why back in the day everybody was putting on fake eyelashes. It was just like, nobody looks bad when you have fake eyelashes or when you're like in full drag, you know? Like you've done a full face transplant. Anyway, let's pick a lip and then we'll go into final thoughts. This is the new, I mean, it's not new anymore, but it's certainly not like considered luxury price-wise, but honestly, a lot of this stuff shouldn't. Tea. But this is the new-ish Glossier, and this is the shade Buff, and you really gotta work it in as you put it on. That was one of my viewers told me that, and she was right. And every time I say Buff, all I think is Adventure Time. Finn's having that dream. She sees him dancing in the bathroom and he's like, I'm a buff baby, I can dance like a man. I can shake in my fanny, I can shake in my can. I'm a tough dude, baby, I will punch in your buns. Punch in your buns. If you're an evil witch, I will punch them for fun. Aren't you glad that you came to me as the authority on luxury beauty? I'm so refined. Yeah, I actually, I realized like I've done that in this video, and I also like heavily referenced South Park in talking about that lavender color. So yeah, exposed. I was actually just talking about that today, how like, you know, I put it on my stories, like Gen Z's humor, I'll admit, it goes over my head quite a bit. Like I made that video talking about DIOR and, you know, all of its other things. And like, I truly, as I made that video, as I went to bed after making that video, when I woke up after making that video, I still cannot figure out exactly to what degree the original creator is in on the joke. Like, I know that she was making ironic content, but I don't know that all the people making spin-off content from her ironic content understood that it was irony. I just feel like I'm overthinking it because I'm not the right audience for it, you know? So anyway, and then on the other side of that, I like, you know, I don't know how when I moved, I ended up with a subscription to the New Yorker. I used to buy it as a gift for Mike because he's this voracious reader, but I never read it and now I have it coming to my house, and so I was like, well, maybe I'll just be a sophisticate and read the New Yorker. And I had like a morning to myself today, a nice slow quiet morning. I woke up really early. I'm like, it's like this humor issue, and they've pulled all of these humor articles. And honestly, if I didn't have both of my hands busy, I'd be making air quotes every single time I said humor, because like, I do not understand that level of humor, either that like highbrow humor, or I'm like, you're making me think too hard for a chuckle at best. Like, memes forever. Ooh, that was the right choice. So yeah, this is the beigey one in the Prism glass. Is that what it's called? Prisma glass from Armani that we kind of had to wait on. but the wait was worth it. And I think I gave the other one, the darker one, to Rebecca. MAC Fix Plus, because I need the moisture, okay? I feel like I have such clear final thoughts here, so let's do it. You don't need this. It's hilariously expensive. It's awfully stupid. It didn't really do much. I mean, yes, it's a mattifying primer that's going to, again, prolong the wear time of your makeup, but guess what? So is something from One Size, so is something from Thrive. Thrive's is beautiful. There are so many really fantastic mattifying primers that make your makeup last. This is not a groundbreaking idea. They simply made it green, and it's just a silicone primer. That's all it is, with like a heavy scent in a Prada bottle. And like, I guess as someone who's willing to pay for luxury, nothing makes me madder than that. It makes me feel like a sucker, because we're all suspending our disbelief when we buy stuff from these brands. We're all like, no, 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 it's gonna feel special. And when it doesn't feel special, this is like the Hermes Plein Air skin tint, where I was like, Hermes, no. Who do you think you're fooling? It was so pedestrian. Listen. My camera died, and for some reason my battery, instead of being on the charger, was on the floor next to the charger. It's just that kind of life right now. So I'm gonna give you my final thoughts here. I'm glad that it died when it did and not earlier. Anyway, you don't need that primer. The Vitalumière Aqua, wow, I don't know. I don't really know what I romanticized so much about this. It's like, it's pretty, it's fine. It's just really not for my skin, in like both the fact that it's oxidizing, it's already too dark, but also the finish of it is too matte. So like, I will find somebody who's just slightly deeper skinned than I am and give it to them. Next, I feel like there are only a couple of things in this video that are like, that I'm glad that I bought, and the Chanel blushes are at least one of those. You know, I think that the purple one is more special than the coral, but they're still both really beautiful. So if you, again, are like a collector of these things, this is not a flop. But if you are like looking at that and you're like, do I need that because it is the most unique product in the world? The answer is no. It's just really pretty, you know? I just think they're lovely. They do keep cranking the price up though. What in the heck? What in the heck? These things are like $75 now. It's ridiculous. They were like $65 a year ago. Like, come on, Chanel. Oh, the Prada powder? We're doing this out of order. The Prada powder, will I use this again? Maybe. I don't totally understand this. And I've used it now, I think 5 times. And every time I use it, I'm like, that was fine. Under my eyes doesn't look incredible. It does not. I think it's a little too oil controlling for me, and I still don't know why it's green. This is just very much answering a question no one asked, and that is what is leaving me with so many questions. But it's not bad. I just don't understand it. I was hoping that using it would make me understand it, but I don't. It goes over my head. This is a really weird one, because like, I am here to tell you, like, this is beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's such like, again, a ballsy color. And this is the kind of rosy one I was talking about, and I will get a lot of use out of it, but I didn't want to show it to you today because it's like, girl, that's pretty boring. You know what I mean? No one's going to be like, wow, do I need to buy it for the color? It's like, no, you have something that color, I promise you. But I wanted to test the formula with this also being a color that I was excited about, and I am both excited about the color and the formula. I think it's really awesome. However, what are we doing? I don't know what they were thinking with this color. I will probably give it to Rebecca so that she can use it as an under eye corrector. Oh gosh, the Chanel eye crayon pencil, guys. No, I mean, no. There's nothing particularly special about these. I liked last year's release again because it was just sort of, I don't know, the colors were very like autumnal and like fun, and these do come in a bunch of fun colors this time. Like, I think that it's not a new range, but I think that they came out with like new colors or something. I don't know, but there are some exciting colors in this. But like, between the price, the unspecialness of the formula, because I have yet to find an eyeshadow stick that doesn't function. Like, they're not usually particularly exciting in terms of texture, but they all do a pretty darn good job. The ones from Sephora collection are fantastic. And the fact that the packaging is unspecial because it's just like any other, you know, eyeshadow stick. That, and the fact that the little point falls off as soon as you try and use it. No, I don't know why Chanel is acting like they're so brand new. Like, they've never made makeup before. Like, what a rookie mistake, especially when something like, I don't know, the colors were very like autumnal and like fun. And these do come in a bunch of fun colors this time. Like, I think that it's not a new range, but I think that they came out with like new colors or something. I don't know, but there are some exciting colors in this. But like, between the price, the unspecialness of the formula, because I have yet to find an eyeshadow stick that doesn't function. Like, they're not usually particularly exciting in terms of texture, but they all do a pretty darn good job. The ones from Sephora collection are fantastic. And the fact that the packaging is unspecial because it's just like any other, you know, eyeshadow stick. That, and the fact that the packaging is unspecial. Like, they've never made makeup before. Like, what a rookie mistake, especially when something like, the Bobbi Brown ones exists. Like, I think Moonstone is a revelation because I've yet to find something else in that format, in that delivery system that actually gives satisfying sparkle on the eyes. That is the first one. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know. It was like a rule for a while where I was just like, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as an eyeshadow stick that's going to give you shimmer because there's so much silicone in the formula, it's just going to mattify the shimmer. Somehow they managed. Somehow they did it, and it is really, really good and special. It has nothing to do with like the new things in this video today. I really think that like luxury in and of itself right now is kind of out over their skis. I kind of want to go like stick to prestige right now. At least it's doing things that are like useful, you know, interesting. Like, we're not talking about these things being inexpensive, but I do feel like I'm getting what I'm paying for far more than I am with something like this. I don't know. I am actually like, I think it was this time last year, I was like, makeup's just great. It's hard to say anything bad about it. Like, everybody's just making good things now because, you know, iron sharpens iron, whatever's going on right now, the brands are lazy. I don't know what these releases are, but I am so disappointed on the whole with them. So, the Prada lip balm. I mean, God, do you need, it's so strange how like the actual tip is pink now. It's gonna stay like that forever. Yeah, do you need a color changing lip balm from Prada? No. If you're going to suffer this smell all day, at least make it one of those like really unique colors that they have in their lipsticks. I really hope that this video made you feel like there was absolutely no FOMO to be had. There is no FOMO to be had in any of this stuff. I hope this was fun for y'all. I love y'all. If you liked this, give it a thumbs up. I mean, if you survived this far, go ahead and subscribe because this is about as bad as it gets. So, you know, you can stand me. And I love y'all. I will see you very soon. It won't feel like any time at all. I'm gonna go to Trader Joe's. Bye.